Stitchy friends and family, welcome back to my channel. My name is Letitia. I am the crafty curator, and this is a channel about cross stitch. So it's been about 2 weeks since my last update, and I am going to show you what I've been working on for StitchMaynia / Mirabilia. I've had a couple of new starts since we last met. No, I had one new start since we last met, and I have progress on the one that I had started for the first weekend in May. And of course I have my monogamous piece that I'm stitching throughout the entire month of May, outside of the new starts on the weekends. And I have a little bit of haul because I've been supporting some of our needlework distributors. So that's what's on the docket for today. Anything new going on? Not much new going on in the world. Maryland has opened up as of 5 p.m. on Friday, but I am here to tell you 127 has not. So we're pretty much doing the same thing. We're still working from home. We're still being diligent. We're still only going out when essential, and we're staying safe, and I hope you guys are too. Something new and rather disturbing that I've been reading about lately and seeing in people's posts, I don't know what this is about, as if everything going on in the world has not been exciting enough. Murder hornets. If you if you know anything about me, the introduction of murder hornets is not going to get me outside of the house any sooner. Things that are liable out there that are liable to stop my heart from beating: cicadas, locusts, whatever you want to call them, and murder hornets. That'll keep me inside for a while. So no to the murder hornets. What in the world? I mean, and there was snow last weekend in May. So there we are. Quick world update there for you. So let's just jump right in, because I'm surrounded by stuff. So let's just jump right into it. I actually just finished watching the Sunshine Stitchers with Nicole Buckeye Stitcher. That was so much fun to watch. But Shelia, if you're watching, The Masked Singer, I love that show. It brings me so much joy watching these stars perform, and then the whole unveiling. You have no idea, like there are some stars that have been unveiled that you had no idea could sing or perform, and it just blows your mind. So Shelia, I'm there with you. I'm also 100% there with you for Dr. Elvis. Dr. Elvis. And if anybody else watches The Masked Singer, I'm Team Night Angel. Watch The Masked Singer. Enough about that. So maybe, what should we start with? Why don't we start with what's in my hand, or what's in my lap right now? So anyway, that's what I was talking about. I just finished watching the Sunshine Stitchers, and their latest episode was about an hour long, which is good because it gave me some time to catch up on my 30 minutes a day on cat collage. So just to give you a brief reminder, I am doing Monogamania for blue Moroccan lace. I'm working on that for the entire month of May, but every weekend I'm doing a new start, and I work on that piece throughout the weekend, and then I continue to work on it throughout the next week for 30 minutes a day. So that gives me a nice little chunk of a start. And then outside of the 30 minutes, usually in the evening after work, I'm working on blue Moroccan lace. So that's been working out pretty well so far. So the first piece that I worked on, I didn't work on it yesterday. So the hour-long Sunshine Stitcher episode, I stitched on this throughout the entire hour, so that made up for yesterday and today. So the first one that I have to show you progress on, I started last weekend, and that is Cat Collage by Laurel Birch. And it's just a whole bunch of funky cats. They're weird, some are creepy. I don't know. I'm here for it. So that's Funky Cats. No, it's not. That is Cat Collage by Laurel Birch, kitted by Dimensions. It is an entire kit. And I have been working on this on the Ada that came with the kit, but as I showed in my last video, I hand dyed the Ada myself, not only to get some of the starch and the sizing out of it, but also to take away the white background, because working on 14 count Ada, I was concerned about the coverage, particularly with the black. There's a lot of black in this piece. So I think the dyeing has helped a little bit with the fabric not being as visible, but it has certainly helped with the fabric being more pliable and easier to work with. So here is my progress on my cats. I did end up going with, let me get it in focus. I did end up going with the metallic thread that came in the kit. I'll show that to you. That's this. That scared me. I'll tell you. So working with this scared me because I didn't know what to expect with it. But I have found that working with it has been a lot easier than I thought. I used Thread Heaven or what's it called? Thread Magic. Thread Magic is what I've been using lately to condition the thread, and it really hasn't been hard to work with it. So here you can see there's a, gosh, sorry guys, I'm a little confused because I'm on my camera and not my phone, so I'm a little disoriented. There you go. So here, there you go. I'm disoriented. I'm sorry. You can see the gold in his whiskers and in his eyes. I call this my old man cat. Y'all, I've only been doing this for 6 years, so forgive me for the struggle that I'm going through right now. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Get it together, Letitia. So I call this my old man cat, the blue and black one, because he just looks like a little old man. The orange and yellow one, I have named him Bob. And I named him Bob because when I posted this on Instagram at some point this week, Bob Stitching on Instagram, who I met at Flosstube, New Jersey last year, amazing guy. We were stitching on the same cat at the same time, so I named this orange and yellow one Bob. That's the only cat that I'm going to name in this whole project because I'm not going to be able to keep up with all the names. I also thought that Bob here, not Bob Stitching, but Bob the cat. Oh, Bobcat. But that the Bob the cat here, I think he was a fan of Bowie, David Bowie, or he frequented Studio 54 back in the day. Just saying. So that's where I am with this. So today, for the hour of stitching that I worked on the outline of this cat. I can't with the direction. I worked on the outline of the cat above the old man cat and filled in this area right here. So that was a good solid hour, but that's where we are. But because it is Sunday and it's been a week since I started it, I'm not going to do 30 minutes a day on this one anymore. So it's going in the project bag for a while, and I'll be working 30 minutes a day throughout the next week on the project that I started this weekend. More to come on that. I also want to share, I talked last week about how much I love Garon tote bags and how I'm in their Bag of the Month Club, but I also buy bags outside of the Bag of the Month Club when they have their flash sales. Can we just talk about this bag right here? I bought this in a flash sale, but I mean, is this not the most perfect bag for this kit? How perfect is that? And this bag I actually bought when I purchased this kit, not knowing when I would start it, but I just wanted them to go together because seriously. And it's just a bunch of funky cats. The nice little purple interior. So we won't be seeing the cat collage for a little while. I don't know when it's going to come back out, but I think that was a great start. So StitchMaynia, my way of doing excuse me, StitchMaynia with the new start on the weekend and the 30 minutes a day. I think that's been successful. The first weekend in May, I started Birds of a Feather by Papillon Creations. And that is this project here. So I started this 2 weeks ago, and I'll insert a picture here to show the start that I showed you in my last video. And this is stitched on 32 count Sprite Lugana by somebody. I want to say picture this plus. And this is where we ended this one. So let's zoom in a little bit here. Apparently I forgot how to use my camera and I just turned it off rather than zooming in. So this is where we are now. I have some specialty stitches in there, mainly in this section here. There's some lazy daisies, there's some raised stitches, there's some Krynic in there, there's some Rhodes, dense Rhodes stitches. This one is chock full of specialty stitches. So I think that's a solid start. One thing about this project, I didn't do as well with the 30 minutes a day on this one. So there's not as much progress on this as there was on the cat collage. I just wasn't as diligent with the 30 minutes a day. And it's really quite as simple as that. The other thing with the cat collage, that's probably the first time I've stitched on 14 count Aida since I finished the 3 Yoruban ladies that I showed most recently in the Sunshine Stitchers video when they asked me to join them in their Zoom meeting. And I showed my finish of the 3 Yoruban ladies. That was on 14 count black Aida. And I think that was the last time I've worked on Aida since then. This was the first time I worked on Aida rather since then. And I'm really enjoying it. It's, if I could pull this out again to show you, the coverage isn't bad. It's not bad. I mean, where you see the black, yes, you do see some of the fabric poking through. But what surprised me the most, let's see if we can zoom in there properly. Yeah. I think what surprised me the most about this was the ease of the stitching. Just the 14 count and the bigger holes, it was just so much easier to stitch on than working on what I'm used to, like with linen and Lugana, or even weave, rather, any other type of even weave. It's just been a pleasure, and I really enjoyed it. And I was worried about the coverage, but I'm liking how it's looking. And I remember when Danielle Stitcherista, it was a while ago, when she decided that she was going to back to stitching on Aida, and that's one of the things that she talked about, was that she really enjoyed the ease of it, and the strain that it took off of her eyes without having to worry about those little holes, and it just made it a lot easier for her. And I think she converted back to Aida 100%, if I'm not mistaken, unless something has changed since then. But I definitely understood where she was coming from. Am I going to convert solely to Aida? No. I'm still an even weave / linen girl. But what I have learned to do, because I still like a good kit, I have learned how to adapt the Aida that I'm using, to take some of that starchiness out. That makes a huge difference to me. But I've really enjoyed stitching on the cat collage, which is good because another Laurel Birch kit may or may not have come into my possession. just like so. The third StitchMaynia piece, I talked about it in my last video. I started this piece yesterday along with Carolina from Crafts Makeup Food. We both decided to start stitching this on the same day, and this of course is Princess Eliana by Mirabilia. We had to pick up a new shredder yesterday. Office Depot is doing curbside pickups, so we picked up a new shredder yesterday. They brought it out to the car, but while my husband was waiting for the shredder to come out, I ran inside and made some working copies for this Mirabilia. So Princess Eliana has been started yesterday. I think she's probably one of the most beautiful Mirabilias that I've seen, next to the Gypsy Queen and the lady with the skirt. It has a checkered skirt. Villa Mirabilia, I believe. Yeah. This is one of the prettiest ones I've seen. And it's so funny, when I first got back into stitching several years ago, I kept seeing Mirabilias everywhere, and I was like, I am so not into the big fancy ladies. I was so not into Mirabilias, and now it's so funny how things have changed. I just didn't think it was my thing until I stitched one. And now I'm into them. So with this Mirabilia, I knew as soon as I saw her with all of the colors, I just thought she would be absolutely beautiful with brown skin. You know, I'm a skin converter, so I am going to convert her. And it's funny, Lisa, the Modern Stitcher, and I, we had the same muse in mind, and she messaged me asking about skin tones for, you know, a conversion that is reminiscent of Lupita Nyong'o, and I was thinking the same exact thing. I definitely, looking at the Gypsy Queen, I had plans to convert her using a darker, richer skin tone with Lupita in mind. And I also wanted to do it with this one. I think it's something about the colors in the dresses that just screams for a beautiful, rich brown skin. So I'm going to insert a picture here of the inspiration that I had in mind for not only the skin tone, but also the fabric choice. So I'll insert that here. So as you can see, that Tiffany blue that Lupita wore was just so beautiful, so beautiful. So of course I had to choose a Tiffany blue fabric, and this is my start thus far on Princess Eliana or Princess Lupita, whichever. That's my start so far. I started this yesterday, and I'm going to be working on this some more today. I don't know the colors that I'm doing yet for her skin. I looked at the skin conversion chart by Lord Lebidian, and I think that was very helpful. But I have to look at those colors to see if that's what I have in mind. Lord Lebidian, the darkest skin tone that was shown in that chart, I wrote it down on my working copy. The darkest skin tone is 840, and I think that is a good color, but I'm not sure it's as rich as I want it to be. I want her to have that rich brown skin tone, and I just don't know how that's going to work. I have to look at it. But right now, what I'm basing my colors off of is the dark tones, using 840 with the highlights and the shadowing that was recommended by Lord Lebidian's chart. But I haven't pulled the colors for her skin yet. I'm nowhere near her skin. I am like right here. That's that little fluff of fabric right there, which is the official term, by the way. That little fluff of fabric, that is the official terminology. That's where I'm at. So as you can see, I'm nowhere near the skin. I am planning to do her skin 1/1. I'm probably not going to change her hair because it looks like it has, has some, maybe it's a little bit of a gray situation, maybe a little bit of a lavender. I love her hair. I'm not going to change it. But I'm definitely going to do the skin conversion without a doubt. And on that Tiffany blue fabric. So this is Malibu by Color and Cotton. Part of the Color and Cotton, this is upside down, it's fine. I'm part of the Color and Cotton Fabric of the Month Club, so I get a neutral and a rich and bright color every month, so I had this in my stash. And pretty excited about it. This is the first Mirabilia I've worked on in quite some time. Fun fact about this particular Mirabilia, it uses all of the new DMCs. So I had this in my stash. I got this from Trisha 3All Threads Nest Egg, so I already had the tin with the new DMCs. And then I did a stash dive for the remainder of the DMCs. There are no silks in this one, not even Krynic. Am I lying? I might be lying. No, I don't even think there's Krynic. It's, no, not even Krynic. It's a lot of beads. So I just went ahead and got the bead embellishment pack to make it a little easier on with kitting it up. I just got the embellishment pack, but I actually had everything on hand for this project except for two skeins of 2 colors in DMC. I'm really happy with that. So aside from buying the pattern and the embellishment pack, I didn't have to kick out anything for the rest of the project. And I don't know why I'm showing this, but these are all of the DMC colors. Some of them you can see are wound on bobbins. That's from my stash dive, and the rest, they were neatly displayed in this tin. And then they weren't. So that's it. Next weekend, so I'm sorry, I'm going to work on Princess Eliana for 30 minutes a day through next Sunday. And then I'll put her away for a little while and continue to work on Blue Moroccan lace. But next weekend I will have another StitchMaynia start. I don't know which one it's going to be yet. It's either going to be Begin by Bent Creek or the Sunnyside Sampler by, is it the Drawn Thread? I don't think it is. Why don't we look at it? Because it's right here. So it will either be, it is the Drawn Thread, it'll either be this one, Sunnyside Sampler by the Drawn Thread, or this one, Begin by Bent Creek. I don't know which one it will be, but we'll both find out together next weekend. And both of those are being stitched on 40 count platinum. So whichever one I start next weekend, the one after that will be started the final weekend in May. So the last whip, the last whip I have to show you is my Monogamania piece. I still say Monogamania because for the most part this is what I'm stitching on all month long, aside from my StitchMaynia starts. This is my focus piece for the month. So I'm going to insert a picture here of where I was with Blue Moroccan lace when we last chatted. And this is where we are now. So I got quite a bit done. Quite a bit done. I finished the top where I had some open spaces with the blue, the top, and what's on my left hand side is completely finished. I'm working on completing the stitching for the right hand side. I'm still in the stage where I'm doing all of the cross stitch. I haven't gotten into the specialty stitches yet. Now, the last time we talked, I decided, or I mentioned, that I might want to start the beading as I go. So I put in a couple of beads. You can see here and a couple of beads here, and then I stopped. I decided I did not want to bead as I go, which I probably will regret later, but it was a little bit too cumbersome because I've become a bit of a hoop stitcher as of late, or an 11 by 8 Q-snap stitcher. And that does not work well when you're trying to bead as you go. I have a lot of scroll frames. I'm just not using them right now. That might change, and that probably would make the beading as I go a lot easier. But also the problem was I was losing interest. Excuse me. When I was just focusing on the beading, I didn't want to work on it. And I said that last time that I stitched that I love the effect of beading, but I'm not a big fan of beading. So when I was focusing on nothing but the beads, it was overwhelming to me because there were so many beads that I had to do. It just wasn't fun for me in that moment. So I just went back to the stitching, and then I was full steam ahead. And it's really interesting because my African princess woman, that is 100% beads. There is no cross stitching in that piece. That is a pleasure for me. That type of beading, I enjoy it. But when it comes to this type of beading, it's overwhelming. So I'm also kind of toying with the thought of Princess Ileana. Do I want to get started on the beading in that piece? I have no idea what I'm doing with my beading life. I'm all over the place. But I did get a couple of beads put in right there. This orientation thing is so hard for me today, and right there. So, but that's where we are with Blue Moroccan Lace. It is definitely taking shape. I don't know if I'll finish the stitching this month, but this part right here is going really fast. I don't want to say that I'll finish all the stitching this month because I don't know, and I don't want to put that type of pressure on myself, to be honest with you. But that would be nice. It also would be nice if I finished this before she turns 4 years old in October. I'm just saying. It's something I'm thinking about. We'll see how things work out, but it would be nice to finish her up. Speaking of turning 4 years old, last time we chatted, I showed you the finish of Tribal Monkey, and I said that I went on pictureframes.com and ordered the frame for Tribal Monkey. That frame arrived yesterday. So I think it was Carolina that asked me if I could film my process for framing. Yes, I will do that. What I want to give as a disclaimer, I am a novice framer. I framed a couple of pieces that really looked like somebody that didn't know what they were doing. Framed those pieces. I have a couple of pieces that look like that, and then I have pieces like Desiderata. So I can look at pieces that I have framed and I can tell how how I've elevated my skill, but I am by no stretch of the imagination an experienced framer. However, I definitely, because I've watched a lot of framing videos, I've watched Teresa Kitten Stitcher, I've watched Tara C, and both of them in the past have done professional framing. I have watched their framing process and kind of used bits of that to make it my own. And I've gotten a couple of tools along the way, like the point driver and really learning how to pin fabric, that I think makes all the difference in the world with preparing your piece for framing. But what I can say is I know there's a lot of you out there just like me that have just kind of dipping their toes in the picture framing waters that would like to see somebody else's process rather. So I will film that. I don't know when I'm going to take that project on because there is a pretty big project going on in our lives right now that I will talk about just a little bit in a couple of minutes, and I think I'm going to wait. Because of that, I think I might wait to go ahead and frame tribal monkey. But when I do frame him, I will do my best to set up the tripod and really film my progress. Because I think a lot of you would like to see that, and hopefully it'll be helpful to some of you. So that's coming somewhere down the pike, but I haven't even opened up the box yet. I'm kind of keeping it all together and keeping it boxed up until I'm ready to take it out. But I haven't even looked at the frame, and I want to see it, but I'm just not trying to open up a whole lot of boxes right now. And I'll explain why. So that brings us to haul. So there's a lot of things that came in the mail over the last couple of weeks, some of which I recently purchased, some of which I've been waiting on for quite some time, through no fault of the distributor at all. But I talked about in my last video the experience I was having with ordering the kits from Auto Cross Stitch and the excellent customer service that she gave me with offering to resend. Well, lo and behold, right after that, the notification was sent that the kits were on their way. They were stuck in a holding pattern, I believe. I could tell because she sent the tracking information. I could tell when it was released from the UK, and I know she said she sent it literally within a day or two of me ordering it, but it was being held somewhere between the UK and Illinois, literally for like a month, I think. And it finally was released, and now I have it in my hot little hands to share with you. So while I'm talking about it, I will share the kits that I purchased from her. I purchased a few of them. The first one is Floral Abstract Elephant, which kind of reminded me of Tribal Monkey. And when I talk all the time about how much I love her kits, this is how her kits come. Beautifully displayed, beautifully bobbinated. I chose 25 count Easy Guide or Magic Guide. I'm not sure which is which, but that's what I got. And it comes in this beautiful kit. The bobbins are secured on this little piece of paper through this little, I'm not sure how it's secured, but they come beautifully organized, and then by the time you open it and start using them, it no longer looks like this. But I love how her kits come. So that is Floral Abstract Elephant by Auto Cross Stitch. X-Stitch, I should say. The second kit that I purchased was a Mandala Parade. Mandala Parade by Hello Angel. And just the colors, I'm just saying. Right? The colors. And this is how it looks, all kitted up. And again, on 25 count Magic Guide or Easy Guide, whatever it's called. I love her kits. And the final one, I'm really excited about. This is the one. This is the one that started the order. But this is also the first time I've seen packaging like this. It comes in this nice hard case, which contains everything, including a project bag to hold the fabric and the pattern. One thing I love about Auto Cross Stitch too, Auto X Stitch, that's what I should say. So if any of you try to find it, you're not looking up Auto Cross Stitch, but I think if you put in YIOTAS, even if you put in cross stitch, she'll come up. But one of the things I love about her patterns, this is a big one. This is going to take a while, and I'm going to show it to you in a minute. The pattern, it comes on this high quality, super high quality paper, and it's huge. They're already blown up. So when you make working copies, I make working copies pretty much of just about everything. I didn't make a working copy of my Dimensions kit because it's a kit. let me clarify. I didn't make copies of my dimensions kit because it's not something, because the floss comes with it, and I usually, once you get done with the kits, the dimensions kit, everything is pretty ratty and well used, and you're not going to pass the stash on. I typically don't pass the stash on dimensions kits. And even when I do, people just understand it's a well-loved copy. But I love her working copies. I mean, her patterns. They are huge. They are already blown up. You don't have to, and I'm not showing you anything, but you don't have to blow them up in order to see them. I love that about her kits. So this kit is, not gonna lie, she's a big girl. She's a big one. But the kit and the fabric came in this project bag. And here are all of the colors contained in this reusable box. So honestly, I don't even need to put this in a project bag while I'm working on it. I can just put the project bag back in the box, close it up, and it's easy peasy. Once I get that squared away, I will show you. Speaking of Lisa, she just sent me a message. This is Red India Elephant by Oksana Zaika. Look at that. Yeah. I'm going to be working on this until I'm 78 years old. It's fine. I have a good 32 years and 1 month to get this together. Yeah. But look at it. I love that so much. I can't even. Look away, Jessie Marie. Look away. Yeah. So this kit brought me a lot of joy to receive that. Long awaited. So that was my haul from way out of Cross Stitch. I got my fabric of my bag of the month bag from Garon Toten Bags. Some beautiful water lilies or lotus flowers, I'm not sure, and dragonflies. The beautiful dragonfly interior. And I tucked in here so I could show it to you. Came with a little Garon Toten Bag keychain and some floss in Gary Green. I also have in here my fabrics of the month from Color and Cotton. I said I get a rich and bright and a neutral. So these are both 36 count in Clementine and Tutu. So this is the neutral. It's not as pink necessarily as it's coming up on screen. It is a light rose, light beigey rose, and this is like a nice peach color. I absolutely love Color and Cotton. I mean, love Color and Cotton. These two I got from 123 Stitch because I kept hearing people talking about R&R Reproductions fabrics. Did you hear that? That was my tummy. I haven't eaten yet. R&R Reproduction fabric, and I've never stitched on it, but I keep hearing about people talking about this fabric and how much they love it. So I bought a piece to go with the pattern that I'm about to show you. And this is 32 count French roast linen. And I also got a piece 32 count Cafe Kona. Both just neutrals. But I just wanted to give those a try. Other piece of haul that I mentioned that I got another Laurel Birch kit. I got this off of eBay. This is Cat Pair, otherwise known as Joe and Letitia. Yeah, I think this makes my third or fourth Laurel Birch kit. It's fine. I've been saying the whole time that this kit is by Dimensions. It's by Design Works. It's by Design Works. I posted it on Instagram that it's by Dimensions. I'm just realizing this. If any of you have been looking for these cat kits from Laurel Birch, and I keep saying Design Works, Dimensions, I apologize. There it is, by Design Works. So I love that. I love this little bottom border that's almost like kente cloth. I love it. I just love it. And they're just two little cats hugged up and loving on each other. Made me happy. So the last piece that I have to share is something that I typically wouldn't buy, but there is a very specific reason I bought this. So this is, I think it's not Natalie. I think it's pronounced Natale by Alessandra Adelaide. It's a little red cardinal. It says Merry Christmas on it, which I'm not going to stitch that part, but I wanted the cardinal for a very specific reason. So when I talked about not wanting to unbox the tribal monkey or the tribal monkey frame or dig into that right now because we have a lot going on right now, my husband and I are in the process of purchasing a new home. Literally coming down to the final stages right now for closing. So we're crossing our fingers that everything continues to go well, but we are in the final stages and have every reason to believe that all is going to continue to go well. So we don't want to unbox anything. This is something that we've been talking about for the last couple of years, but I want to say about 3 weeks ago, we found exactly what we were looking for, and all went well with putting in the bid and the offer, but it all went so fast, and I had such a strong feeling about it, and I remember talking to my husband about it, saying, I feel like we need to move on this, and we need to move on this right now. And I felt like, I told him, I said, it's almost like I can hear my father whispering in my ear, telling me, now, go now. With placing the offer and with putting in the offer and all of that. And it stands to reason, as things started to unfold in the next few days, it was very clear to me why that voice was whispering in my ear. And that's all I have to say about that, because there were some other people that were expressing a lot of interest in the home, up to and including an awkward encounter when we were looking at the house the day before our bid was accepted. So it was very clear to me that voice in my ear was why it was telling me to move at the time that we moved on that offer. So that being said, the day that our offer was accepted, which was May 7th, we went back to the house to look at it again and kind of go through and look at the windows and everything and start talking about possible window treatments and everything. But the three of us went to the deck, and we were kind of standing there looking at the deck, and this cardinal came, and it flew right up in front of us, and then stopped and looked at us, but then it fluttered back and it got even closer, and it looked directly at us. It was so close, it looked directly at us. And the thing that came out of my mouth in that moment, instinctively, I said, I see you, and I know you're here. And it was a moment where I just felt that cardinal was like my father coming to visit me. And I knew nothing about cardinals. I knew nothing about cardinals. I knew nothing about what they mean. I just felt in that moment that beautiful red cardinal, which red was my father's favorite color. And in that moment, I felt as if it was his spirit visiting me, telling me, I'm glad you listened to me. And it was just this whole moment. And it was so special because the three of us were there, and it was just a very powerful moment for me. So I remember we walked away, and I was like, I wonder what cardinals mean, what cardinals represent. And I looked it up on my phone real quick, and sure enough, cardinals, especially when a cardinal comes into your yard, is believed to be the representation of a loved one coming to visit you, particularly in a time of celebration, just to let you know that they are there with you. And this whole time through this process with this house, I felt such a strong feeling that my father was guiding me, because clearly this is something that I would have talked to him about, and he would have absolutely, invited or not, would have absolutely guided me through this whole process. But I just felt this powerful presence of his voice in my ear, like I said, specifically telling me to move and move fast when I did, and with reason. Like I said, it came to pass. But when this cardinal visited and looked in my face and looked in our face, I just had this strong feeling that it was my father's spirit kind of visiting. And for those of you that don't believe in this, that's totally fine. I believe in this kind of thing 1000%. When people pass on, there is a way that they present themselves to you well after they're gone. And so when I looked up the meaning of the cardinal, and it said that it is usually a loved one that is coming to visit you or celebrate something with you, or just make their presence known, particularly when they visit you in your yard, I was even more convinced that this whole moment and this whole process was serendipitous. And so Joe made a joke, and he said, "So how soon before you start to stitch a cardinal?" And I said, you know me well. You know me well. So I looked up the cardinal pattern, and I saw this. And I just thought it was so beautiful and so perfect and so simple. So that's why we now have a cardinal pattern in our possession. And I'm very excited to stitch it. It is certainly not something that I will start until we are in the new home. But like I said, we still have just literally 2 final stages that we have to go through. But we feel pretty confident that will be happening for us early next month. So that is why I'm not unboxing Tribal Monkey or trying to start anything new to pack up or anything like that. I think that I will be unboxing that frame and framing him up in the new location, which will have a craft room for me. So that's a dream come true, isn't it? But I think that's all that I had to share. Thank you guys for indulging me in the past couple of moments, just sharing a little bit of personal life along with stitchy life. I hope everybody is doing well out there. Everybody is doing the best that they can and keeping their spirits up and staying grateful. And, you know, when it gets a little bit troublesome or when it gets a little bit difficult, focus on what you're grateful for. Focus on the things that you have, that you still have. When we were going to pick up the shredder yesterday and make the working copies, we have a crisis community center right down the street that caters specifically to women that are in crisis, need a place to go. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility that's been there for years, decades even. Hannah Moore, if anybody has heard of it. It's been there for a very long time, but it's also a crisis community center. So we were driving to Office Depot, and I noticed all these cars lined up. I mean, cars lined up going around the corner, something that you typically never see out here. And I went on the Facebook group for our town to ask what is going on. And apparently it was a day of food distribution. And to see these cars lined up like that, you know, you just have to be grateful. You have to be grateful that with all that is going on, and as hard as it is, you know, out there, man, if you're in a place where you're healthy and you know, you have your roof over your head and you're still able to feed your family. Be grateful for that. You know, just be grateful for that, because it's a lot. It's everything to some people. So just try to stay grateful and stay humble and stay focused on getting through. And we will get through. I have no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Don't know when, but I know we will. So that's my little soapbox for the day. I'm going to get off of it and wish you